How do you do? Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Wile E. Coyote. Super genius. I am not selling anything, nor am I working my way through college. I am in fact making my first video on this YouTube channel, and of an appropriate subject. You see, unlike several of the other Looney Tunes characters, like my other adversary, Bugs Bunny, or even Daffy, Porky, Tweety, and the others, I was never featured on any record releases in the Looney Tunes heyday. I'm sure some of you remember Capitol Records releasing singles and a few read-alongs featuring the Looney Tunes characters back in the 1940s, including two that were adapted to computer animation a couple of years ago. Well, music releases of the Looney Tunes did not stop after that. During the 1970s, popular kiddie record label Peter Pan Records produced a few Looney Tunes related records featuring us. Some of them were read-along book and audio sets, the kind often used to aid younger children in growing their intellectual reading skills. They did produce one read-along record featuring the Roadrunner and I. The Roadrunner, a very scary lesson. Does the title look familiar to you? It should. It was actually adapted from a Little Golden book published in 1974 by the Western Publishing Company. The same illustrations are used, but the wording is different. You might recall that some adaptations gave the Roadrunner her 3 different sons and the ability to speak in rhyme. But when Peter Pan Records adapted the book here, they simply only made him beep beep, just like in real life. Now, according to the back of these, it says that... Beep beep. Oh, hello Roadrunner. I know, I just thought the public on YouTube would be interested in hearing this. Go run around outside or something. Beep beep. Now, anyways, where was I? Oh yes, it says on the back, this package includes a 24-page storybook with full-color illustrations and a 45 RPM record. The storyteller reads the book to the child, word for word, with music and sound effects. It creates the desire to read as it entertains the child. Yes, the slogan is also, it's fun to read as you hear. Anyways, the cover artwork may look strange, but if you see down there, it claims it's an official Looney Tunes product. Even so, I imagine Warner did not closely screen some of the projects that they were to approve for licensing. Even the Roadrunner wasn't too thrilled with this adaptation, and I wasn't either. Why not? Listen for yourself, my friends.
Girl. Hi, boys and girls. This is your Peter Pan storyteller. When you hear this sound, turn the page. Now, let's read together. Beep beep. The Roadrunner, a very scary lesson. One bright and cheerful day, the Roadrunner and his children set off for an early morning round of running and beeping. The sun shone on the cactus, and the air was clear and warm. How the sand sparkled before their eyes. It was a perfect day for an outing. Beep beep, beep beep, beep beep.
And that's not the Roadrunner's actual beeping, as you can tell.
Perched high up on a cactus, an elf owl was preparing for his long day's nap. Like most owls, he was awake at night, his big eyes blinking in the moon. But when the sun came out, he began to get very sleepy and dozed off until it was dark again. Once he went to sleep, he didn't like to be disturbed, and at first he was annoyed at being awakened by all the beeping. He liked Roadrunner, however, so he was glad to see him.
Here, what's all this noise? Oh,
And also make him sound just like W.C. Fields.
Family you have. My, how your children
Like the
grow.
adult Tall Mouse and Little Blabbermouse, and old Merlin the Magic Mouse sounding like
Be on
that
the
too.
lookout for Wile E. Coyote.
Beep beep, beep beep. Roadrunner thanked the owl for the warning. Roadrunner took his brood aside and told them all about Wile E. Coyote and how dangerous he was. He warned them about falling for his tricks. One of the little Roadrunners thought maybe they should just stay inside where it was safe. But Papa Roadrunner said that in order to stay healthy, Roadrunners had to go out every day to beep and run. Soon they were on their way. The elf owl had just gone back to sleep and didn't hear the Roadrunner family give him a cheery goodbye. Beep. He also didn't see the coyote's shadow following the happy birds.
That's not what my shadow normally looks like.
Soon the Roadrunners reached some bubbling mud pits. A group of tortoises lay there, basking in the sun and yawning contentedly. Want to join us in this lovely squishy mud? It's lots of fun. You'll like digging your toes into the soft earth and feeling the hot sun on your back. We often stay here all day long. It's a great way to relax. Roadrunner thanked the tortoises for their invitation, but he explained that everyone had a different way of enjoying himself. He and his family, he told them, simply had to beep and run. So he said goodbye to the tortoises, and he and the little Roadrunners continued down the path, running and beeping all the way. Beep, 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 beep. Neither the Roadrunners nor the tortoises heard the stealthy padding of coyote feet close behind the unsuspecting birds.
Sounds like a film strip.
On their way went the Roadrunners, with Papa out in front. Suddenly the children chased away on their own, for they had spied a creature they didn't know. Papa looked around and couldn't find them, so he called. Beep, and they answered. Beep. He soon found them chatting with a mother mountain lion and her two tiny cubs.
So glad you dropped in. I'd
You
like
made
you to
us
meet
sound
my
like
baby,
Mae West.
Rough and Tumble. They've been hoping to make friends and would love to have someone to play with. Can you stay for a while?
So Papa Roadrunner sat with Mother Mountain Lion while the children happily chased each other in circles. Around and around they went, laughing and beeping. Beep.
I'm surprised you let your children run around as freely as you do. They seem to be going every which way. Personally, I like to keep my cubs close by, where I can always keep an eye on them. Beep, 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 beep.
But Roadrunner explained that if his children didn't run around and beep, they wouldn't be Roadrunners.
Oh, that's true. But of course, you've warned them about Wile E. Coyote. I'm sure I wouldn't want one of my precious babies wandering
like
into his
menace.
clutches. I know you Roadrunners are very fast, but that coyote plays so many wicked tricks. You never know what he's up to next.
Now turn the record over to the other side.
Well, that first side wasn't really much. I don't even appear on the first side of the record. Well, until we get to the conclusion side here. And by this point, the book is pretty much halfway over. But hearing is believing in this case. Also, please note that I am not using an Acme turntable. You see, Acme's turntables can only play 78 RPM recordings and have tougher needles instead of the lighter diamond stylus and the 33 and 45 RPM speeds commonly found in modern phonographs. Putting that aside, let me get to my presence on this book and record, shall we?
For just a moment, the little Roadrunners looked around nervously, but the open desert was too inviting for them to worry too much. Papa Roadrunner promised Mother Mountain Lion that they'd be back to visit again soon, but he told her that at that moment they simply had to beep and run.
Now, Rough and Tumble, you stop that squabbling and play nicely. Maybe later we'll have some friendly visitors again.
Little did Mother Mountain Lion know that a certain coyote was
Now,
steadily trailing her new friends. At the end of the trail, Papa Roadrunner told his children they could explore on their own. They ran off beeping happily, and he looked for a place nearby where he could rest and enjoy the dry desert day on his own. Ah, but all was not well. Someone was watching Papa Roadrunner go off by himself. Someone saw that the little Roadrunners were alone. It was none other than Wile E. Coyote. He laughed to himself and hunted through a nearby junk pile.
Let's see here. What would be really interesting to three
That's
innocent
not
young
what my
road
voice
runners?
sounds like.
I must find
They
something.
make me sound
Once
like
I
some
get their
super
attention, I won't even
relation
have to
character or
chase them.
something.
They'll walk
Not
right
related
up
to the
to
Goody
me.
Goonies crossover I was in.
A bicycle horn. Just the thing. It'll sound just like a road runner, and they'll be here in a flash. Oh no, it's full of sand. Here, let me try this car horn. Oh, that'll never do. It
I don't
doesn't
need
sound
to do that.
anything like it.
I can
Then the
imitate a
coyote
road
found
runner.
an old
Beep, beep,
It
like
was
that.
battered and dented, but the horn still worked. He crouched way down in the seat and pressed the horn. Sure enough, it sounded just like a real roadrunner. Soon the
little,
children were
I suppose.
answering, and they got closer and closer. Before long, the little roadrunners were right beside the truck, and they couldn't understand why the beeping had stopped. Suddenly, the truck door flew open, and out jumped Wile E. Coyote. The little roadrunners knew at once that this was the terrible fellow they had been warned about. They turned around and began to run. The chase was on. They raced over tires, leaped across a rusty bathtub, and skipped upon old magazines and newspapers. The coyote was right behind them. Then they climbed a mountain of furniture and bounced into a valley of bedspreads. Wile E. Coyote came closer every
Our
minute.
cartoons never use that voice sound effect. It's more like something used by the cheaper studios. Like Gene Deitch's company.
At last, they dashed around the corner of the wrecked truck and ran smack into Mother Mountain Lion, the one creature the coyote really feared.
What's going, little road runners? Is that nasty coyote after you? Wile E. Coyote, I'll give you 1 minute to go on your way before I come after you myself. Now get going.
I'm getting out of here.
Like I
Pretty soon,
did.
the Wile E. Coyote was out of sight.
A mountain lion talking like Mae West. What's the threat?
Papa Roadrunner had been nearby, watching everything, and ready to help if his children needed him. He knew they had learned a lesson about the tricks coyotes play, and he was sure that they wouldn't be fooled again.
I don't even use
Then the
any acting
Roadrunner
products
thanked Mother
in
Mountain
this.
Lion and told her that
They
he and
make
his
me look
children
like
would
I'm
be
not
running and
such a
beeping along to
genius
their own
as
little
I
beds
thought.
after a long and tiring day and a scary lesson. And so, all in a line, the Roadrunners went home, looking forward to the next day's adventures and the friends they would visit.
Peter Pan Records should have just called me in to closely supervise this, as you might know. By this point, their productions were rather low budget and amateurish, like the one you just heard. They also commonly would feature voice substitutions, like you heard here, when adapting other cartoons and properties. Though there were a few exceptions, like the records Bugs Bunny was in, along with their Scooby-Doo related releases. But as you could see, chaps, the campiness is what made this book and record worth sharing to all you people out there, prodigy or not. So until then, farewell. Maybe I'll start on more videos too.